Welcome back, everybody, to your creativity. This is Dylan on a Skype call to a special guest. Our guest today is MACLAIN Nelson. You might know him from BYUtv's Showoffs. How are you today, MACLAIN?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. So the new season debuts next week. Is that correct?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. We're very excited about it.
So season 3, how have the first 2 seasons been for you guys?
Honestly, it's been kind of a dream come true to be able to do this. I've been performing live improv comedy since 1999. I was 19 years old when I started doing this, and the dream has always been to kind of get it to the next level, get it to a television, and kind of bring it to a wider audience. So to be able to kind of have pitched the show and have it be picked up and to be in its 3rd season now is actually just a lot cooler than we ever imagined would happen. So we're very happy to kind of be where we are with this show right now.
And with the improv, did you start that down in Provo at Comedy Sports, or was it within a different organization?
Actually, yes, I was the first member of the Utah Comedy Sports. I saw a flyer at a bill on a board at BYU that said, "Do you want to be an athlete?" Very hilarious pun. So I responded to this number. I called and I went to a little meeting with the current owner and started practicing. And myself and Darren Tufts were the first 2 people there. And then, but I met everyone that I work at Showoffs with. Basically, I met through Comedy Sports. Jake Van Wagner, who I created the show with, I met him in 2005 at Comedy Sports. And then like Haley Smith, I met there. And through Haley, I met Lisa and, Sean Johnson, Will Rubio, Tom Quinn. Basically, the team, we all at some point have performed at Comedy Sports or at that location doing the long form stuff. So,
you mentioned Darren Tufts. He's one of our earliest episodes of the podcast.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Darren's an old friend, great friend, and I don't think he does much improv anymore, but we met doing that together.
Yeah, he's doing movies and that eight marketing agency or something that he's got going on. So, and of course, he's still Thermwise.
That's right. That's crazy. I remember when they auditioned for that years. Like that gig has been going. It's good. The gig that keeps on giving.
My brother-in-law was actually in one of the commercials with him.
Oh, cool.
So yeah. So you also mentioned Lisa. She works with my friend Richie. Richie's like her producer.
Oh, nice.
And stuff. So that's another connection we have. So you started a comedy sports. Then tell us about this opportunity coming to do the show. Did BYU approach you, or was it something you were trying to develop and approach them with?
So in about 2006, I believe, my friends Jake Suazo, Lisa Clark, Haley Smith, and a couple of people, we put together. Jake Van Wagner was on his mission, but we put together a long form group called the Thrillionaires, and we would do long form improv, and it's basically the closest thing to Showoffs on the stage. Showoffs kind of was birthed out of this Thrillionaires. It was kind of the next evolution of our long form improv. So we started developing that live show where we do real costumes and we do little snippets of plays and turn them into full length plays rather than just the short stuff that we used to do. So kind of after doing that for 10 years, we've been trying to get something like this off the ground, but it wasn't until Andra Duke, who came to BYU to basically run programming there, I was able to get a meeting with her. We had worked together. We'd crossed paths a few years back working, but I was able to meeting with her and pitch several things. The TV version of our improv show was kind of what stuck out to her and she wanted to see more of that. And so it was then where I brought Jake in to really kind of be my right hand man with the development. And then we reached out to our good buddies over at Kaleidoscope, Adam Anderegg and Russ Kendall, to be our production arm, you know what I mean, the nuts and bolts, and also, you know, adding kind of the shape, helping add the shape and the structure to the creativity side of everything. So yeah, after that we kind of did a refined pitch and did a second pitch and brought it back to BYU, and they really liked it, and you know, they greenlit the first season, which was amazing. We actually shot, rather than doing a pilot, it kind of made sense for them to do a whole first, you know, 10 episodes. And so we got to do 10 episodes out of the bat, and really kind of, it was one of these things where the show kind of is continually growing and changing and morphing and just getting a little bit better. So with each season, I think we're learning a lot more and getting a little bit better and kind of sharpening it all. So.
And you've had some special guests come in. When I saw you guys at FanX, which got this conversation going,
Yeah.
to getting you on, you had Joey Fatone.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that, because he was the finale of last season, right?
Yeah, so he was the finale of season 1, and he was so great in it, and he was just kind of such a natural. You know, it's kind of interesting. The special guests that say yes, it takes a special person to be a special guest on our show, because it's so wild. There's like, they have to really trust us. They have to really trust themselves, and a lot of actors kind of don't. They get a little bit nervous when it's not rehearsed, it's not, you know, scripted. So it takes kind of a special performer to say, you know what, I don't care, I'm just going to risk this. And Joey kind of had that perfect personality of just like, he's a perfect showman. You know, he got up there, he just went with this. He you know, he kind of has the principles of improv just in his bones, that saying yes and adding to it, the whole yes and principle. And so he was really great to have, and his singing ability just kind of was over the top. And the fact that, you know, he still has fans all over the world was an added bonus, you know, bringing more eyes to the show and just kind of giving us more exposure. So that was just so nice to have him.
Did he give you any like behind the scenes stories of being on tour and all those
totally.
days?
We got a lot of inside scoop about how it all happened. You know, the way things happen when you know, they broke up, when Justin left the band and stuff like that. He actually, in the show, he has kind of this inside joke where his character leaves the band and he makes a reference to Justin Timberlake, and it all in good fun and everything. But the whole audience was just dying, and I think it's one of the bigger moments, you know, for the TV audience at home too, especially if you know the history. You know, it's kind of two levels of the story that's going on, and then like the inside joke of if you know who Joey Fatone is.
Yeah. In all the seasons that you've done, do you have like a special moment or a special skit or situation that sticks out to you?
You know, I some of the special moments, for some reason, Tom Quinn and I always get put in like a rap battle against each other. And Tom's one of my oldest friends in improv. We started improvising together in probably 2001. And so for some reason, Casey, who's our host, ends up like setting it up where we're rap battling and doing like a dance off. And they've been some of the funnest scenes. Like it happened in the first season, and then it happened again in the second season. And so it kind of, he really knows our different talents, and he knows how to like push the buttons and how to bring out the best in the show. And so that to me, the rap battles really stick out. I mean, and then as far as our special guest, working with Will Forte was like absolutely a dream come true. You know, like a guy who I grew up watching on Saturday Night Live and his movies, and you know, like it just, to have him come and just jump in and wholeheartedly play with us, it was really, really cool. I mean, and then like Leah Thompson, you know, she came, she's in season 3, and she came and, you know, she was my childhood crush, in Back to the Future, and so it's like then the guys from the Practical Jokers. I mean, it's just we've had so many awesome guests. It's hard to pick like your one moment that you love the most, but because a lot of them definitely stick out.
So you've done lots of other stuff besides the improv. Have you ever done stand-up?
I did do stand-up. It was kind of one of the things that I've been most afraid to do. So it was kind of something I knew I had to do. And some people say, well, improv's scarier because you don't know what you're doing. But I kind of think the opposite. I think stand-up is scarier because you're kind of up there. You don't have a team of people that can like bail you out at any time. You're up there saying, I'm funny. What I've written is funny. And you guys should laugh. And sometimes you have an audience. It's like, okay, make me laugh, rather than like, oh, they're just making it up. I think they're a little bit more forgiving with an improv troupe. So yeah, stand up. I did it, and I probably did about. I made a vow that I would get up like in front of an audience 10 different times, and then decide if I wanted to pursue stand up or kind of stick with the improv and like the writing of comedy rather than the stand-up comedy. And I loved it. I actually never had a bigger rush from doing that, but for me, I felt like the lifestyle of kind of going on the road and if you want to make it as a stand-up, it's a whole different path and it's a whole different trajectory. And I'd already started directing movies and writing movies, and I already had all this years of behind. Stand-up is a wonderful medium. It's just not the medium that I am going to pursue wholeheartedly. But I kind of slew my own dragon by doing it, a number of times, and then realizing, hey, I really respect the people that do this, but it's not necessarily my path to, achieve what I want to in comedy.
I've worked with Wise Guys the past 8 years. I'm a graphic designer, so I've been their on-hand designer. And I've seen a lot of comedians come up, and it's a lot of hard work. So I'm right there with you. And I can never see myself doing stand-up. I don't have the stage presence. I don't have the mind that can keep stuff in there for too long. So, but improv, I'm good at comebacks and stuff like that. So I think I could manage that maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I totally agree with you that you have a lot more support as a improv with the team.
So, and stand up, I actually for improv, I never get scared before a show. I just get excited, and I'm excited to have fun. The times when I would get up to do stand up, I would be so scared. I would literally, I was this close to asking them to just don't bring me on. I'm just gonna pass. I'm not gonna do it. I mean, the high you get once you get the audience laughing is a very, very great rush, and I understand why people love doing it so much, and I respect the people that do it all the time. But yeah, it wasn't for me. So
yeah, I tried.
yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned writing and filmmaking. How many features have you directed?
Oh, I just finished directing my 6th feature film. So I just got back from, I shot a movie in Vienna, Austria, and Bucharest, Romania. It was the same movie, but just shot in 2 different locations. So that was a ton of fun. But yeah, that was my 6th one. So I'm really love directing. It's kind of, I don't know, it's the best of all the worlds, I think. So it's been a lot of fun pursuing that side of things.
So one of your bigger known ones is Once I Was a Beehive.
Yes.
Where does that fall in the lineup? And tell us a little bit about it.
So that was my 3rd feature film, and it was kind of different from my first 2 were like kind of fantasy comedies, and then I went and did a coming of age kind of comedy drama about this girl who went to summer camp, and I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it's kind of this film that has even though it's about like young girls at summer camp, the story in it and kind of the structure, it kind of appeals to all ages. I have grown men coming to me and telling me how much, you know, they're in their 50s or older, and they're telling me how much they appreciate it, because it helped them connect with their daughters. And I have young men, young women, you know what I mean, people of all ages that just really connected with this film. And I think that it made me really happy, because I also wrote the script for that as well. So, you know, it's really, you know, you're really putting yourself on a limb when you write and direct, because it's like, for good or for bad, it's your fault if it's bad, and it's also, you know, your fault if it's good. So so to have it be the kind of this movie that people continually say, hey, this is so nice, we love it, it's something we watch every week, or it's something we share with people all around, and it feels good to be kind of to have made a movie that has found a really nice home.
So do you have a daughter that is that age, or did you attend as a kind of a person watching?
Honestly, no. What made me want to do it is my mom has been a camp director. She was for years and years, and I saw how much work she put into it, and I saw how like gung ho she was, and they went over the top on, you know, the planning, and they just have and I have two sisters that went to camp a ton, and they'd come home and they'd share their stories, and I kind of felt like it was an interesting world, and the main character that Lisa Clark plays, Carrie Carrington, is based on my mom. So I kind of felt like a connection to that world, even though I'd never been. But I did research, and there's enough similarities with some of the Boy Scout stuff that you do too. You know, it's not like we're that different. You know what I mean?
Right.
When it comes to young kids interacting, whether you're male or female, like some of those experiences are you know, at least paralleled. You know, so yeah, it was kind of just jumping into that world, and I had a lot of story consultation with Haley Smith, who plays Holly Valentine in the movie as well, and she's in the Showoffs as well. So she helped me a lot because she's done the camp thing, and so I got kind of the approval of all these people that have been to camp, and actually that's been the biggest compliment, is some of these young girls and women that say, hey, you nailed what girls camp is like, and so that's a lot of fun. And honestly, to hear when men like the movie just as much as the ladies, that's a big compliment, because I mean, I think if that's the true test of like something that really strikes a chord, is that all ages and all genders like it.
That's great. So tell us a little bit more about the other 4 features, because you mentioned your new one, and then this one. Tell us about the others.
So the last, before that, I did a vampire comedy, and I did my tribute to it's called Dudes and Dragons, and it's my tribute to like Game of Thrones. But I grew up on movies like Willow and like Lord of the Rings, and I love those fantasy movies. So I wanted to make like an action comedy that's like tribute to The Princess Bride, you know. So that's what Dudes and Dragons is. And Jake Van Wagner, who is in Showoffs, is in that, and Adam Johnson, who also season 1 of Showoffs, is in that. And James Marsters from Buffy, the Buffy series, is in it, and it was just a really fun show to do. And we shot it all in a green screen stage, and you know, if you want that one's on Amazon Prime, so people can go watch it on there. And then the last 3 movies I've done have all been Hallmark Christmas movies, believe it or not. So I'm kind of been on the Hallmark train for the last year and a few months. I did a movie called Small Town Christmas a year ago, October, and that did really well for them. So they hired me to do 2 others since then. One called Christmas on My Mind that came out last December. And it happened to be, I just found out it was the #1 rated Christmas movie of the Movies and Mysteries channel this year, which was pretty exciting.
Very nice.
And then I just finished Christmas in Vienna, which was a kind of a dream come true project of mine. I did my study abroad while I was in college in Vienna, and I learned German as my minor. And to be able to go to Vienna and shoot Christmas in Vienna was really amazing. And I just got back from that experience, and man, I embarrassed. It's kind of embarrassing, but at the same time, I was literally started shedding tears on the tarmac when I was leaving Vienna, because I just, first of all, you're so exhausted from shooting these movies. We have to do these things in 15 days. That's all you get for these Hallmark movies. So you're shooting 110 pages in 15 days, and it's a lot. It takes a lot out of you, and then to just like, it's a city that I just really grew a fondness of, and to be able to go shoot a movie there was really special. So yeah, I just that's kind of what I've been doing the last few months, and the last year has been Hallmark Christmas movies.
Well, thank you for sitting down with us after getting back from the plane ride and all that work.
Yeah, of course. No, I've been trying. I know we've been trying to catch up about this, and I've been wanting to do it. The timing has been crazy with the difference in hours and all that stuff. So when I found out you had an opening, I was like, well, let's just get her done, and love chatting about projects, love chatting about the creative process, and as much as we can do to get the word out about Showoffs, we really want to grow that audience. Especially, it's a free show to watch, and people can watch it with their families, and it's there to binge watch. You can watch all first and second season, and so yeah, love getting the word out.
You've also been an actor, most notably in the Saratov Approach. Tell us a bit about that experience. It's about two missionaries.
Yeah, so it's about two missionaries it's a true story about two missionaries that got kidnapped in Saratov, Russia, or as we say in English, Saratov. That's our pronunciation. I kind of got used to saying Saratov because we went and shot some of it in Ukraine and to fake as Russia, but it was a really cool experience. The first movie I've ever done as an actor where I was actually playing someone who actually lives and is like a real person. So I got to meet the guy who's the real elder props that I was playing, and I got to hang out with him, and I got to hear his story. I also got to work closely with Garrett on kind of crafting the script and getting it to a place where everybody was happy with it, that both the missionaries and Garrett and us as actors. I also helped produce the movie as well, which was I never actually expected to be cast in it. I kind of came on as a producer, and at first we were looking for some elders that were the exact age to play the parts. But then we got a chance to work with Corbin Allred, who's just a terrific actor.
Yeah.
And once he was able to do it, and he was in Saints and Soldiers and several other films. Once he was able to do it, it kind of made sense to, rather than casting, he was 32 at the time, and I was 32 at the time as well. Or rather than casting someone who looked 22, it would be kind of weird. In movies you can kind of shift. You watch the high school movies like Friday Night Lights, and they have always 28-year-olds playing 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in the movie world, you kind of get away with it as long as the characters match. And so once we cast Corbin, we're looking at some other actors. I just said to the director and to Garrett Batty and to Jake Van Wagner, also on Showoffs, I said to them, hey, look, I'm just going to put myself on tape. I'm going to audition for this. I think I could really do this part well. And I understand that I'm a producer on this, so you may feel like you don't want, my efforts being divided. So I'll just put myself on tape. If you don't like it, I don't have to bring it up again. I didn't want it to be kind of feel weird, like they felt pressured to use me. I wanted to only have them use me if it was right, and if they thought I was right for the movie. So, and they were kind of like, okay, but just know that we probably aren't going to use you. But luckily for me, and I think hopefully people think for the movie, they really liked the tape. They really liked my audition. And they called me back right away and said, you know, we think this is really right for you to be in. So, and I mean, I feel like Corbin and I really matched well, and we brought a little, I don't know, a little maturity to, a little gravity to the role that maybe younger actors couldn't have brought, just because they may have not had as much experience. And I think for the most part, people kind of, us not being the exact right age of missionaries, it didn't really bother them. You know, we looked young enough to fit the roles, and so anyway, so it was a really great experience, and it really caught on fire. You know, a lot of people went and saw it in the theaters and were tweeting about it. And the way that the young people really latched onto it was really special to see and to be a part of.
It's interesting to see the Mormon cinema market still kind of carrying on, you know, because we had that big boom right at the beginning. And like every other movie here in Salt Lake was, you know, another Mormon movie. But it's been pretty amazing that there's been these features that still are able to come out these years later. So it's cool that how that's evolved and things like that.
Yeah, I think the main difference is people, like, as long as they're really quality, and as long as the filmmakers really care about the story and put a lot behind it, I think they can do well, and they can kind of reach past. One thing I've reached past just the, you know, Utah audience. So that's one thing that I've found, that Saratov Approach and Once I Was a Beehive both speak to people that are not, you know, in the Latter-day Saint community, that because they're kind of have universal themes to them. So that was definitely important to us as filmmakers to make something that you could show to anybody without them feeling like they're being preached to, or you know, without them feeling that they're obligated to see it, but that it's actually good cinema, not just something that you should see because it's got, you know, because it's clean or whatever.
Yeah. Through all the years, through all the different things that you've done, who's inspired you? Like directors, comedians, actors?
You know, honestly, probably first of all, who's inspired me the most is my own father. My dad, his name's George Nelson, and he's actually a professor at BYU, and he's the head of the writing department, and he directs a lot. And I've never seen anyone work as hard as him. The man can sit down and write a screenplay in, like, you know, or a play in like a matter of a week or so, and he just really dedicates. He gets really fired up about something, and so he was kind of the first person that like showed me that, hey, oh, you know, I can do this. You know, I can, you know, and even though I went kind of more commercial, he went the educational route, and his plays, you know, they get put up all the time at BYU and in other places, but he kind of showed me that, hey, if you work hard enough, you can write, and you can get your art out there, and you can create. So he's probably my number one inspiration as far as like showing me that I could do this. And then as far as like directors and writers that I really like, I mean, I remember being really inspired by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck early on when they were writing their own projects to put themselves in. Yeah, it just was like, oh, you don't have to just be an actor and be like waiting for someone to cast you. You can actually create something that's right for you, and you can put it together, and you can help produce it, and you can kind of give yourself a better chance of having a real career. And that's really when I talk to, you know, sometimes I'll talk to high school kids or college kids about, like, you know, how to make it in the industry. And I really say, you gotta be good at a lot of things. You got to learn how to write. You got to learn how to direct. You got to learn all the different facets. And you find out what you're good at, and then you'll actually have more chance to get more work, because your skill set is a lot wider.
Of all the different things you've done, is there one that's like an absolute favorite?
Absolute favorite. You know, honestly, probably Showoffs is my absolute favorite because it's so fun. I'm working with my best friends, and there's so many of them, and we shoot so many episodes. So it's more than just like this. It feels like this living thing where a movie kind of comes and goes, and you have that short little window, and it's really special for those 3 weeks. But a TV series kind of keeps coming back, and it keeps living again. So for me, like if I could just do Showoffs for the rest of my life, I would be happy because I'd be working with my friends, creating great comedy and creating great content for families that they can laugh together and watch it with all ages. And so that's really been my favorite of all the projects that I've done.
In that creation process, what situations are most creative for you? Sitting alone, figuring stuff out, or in the group, or
I like kind of a mixed approach. I like going and like hashing it out with creative people that I trust. Like I said, Jake Van Wagner, he and I, we work really well together. We wrote this movie called My Brother the Time Traveler, or it's also known as Christmas Time because it's a Christmas movie, and we wrote the thing in 2 weeks. But the way we did it is we would really hash out the ideas, and then we would go back alone and write things and then share it with each other. So I enjoy kind of having the alone time to like formulate the thoughts and ideas and then like put them up for everybody to kind of,
work through them,
criticize and work through and shave off the rough bits and kind of sand and smooth it down. So it's kind of like that ebb and flow of working together and then going back alone and then bringing it back. So that's a really fun process.
Another past guest that we've had on the podcast is Matt Madson. You worked with him in Thrillionaires and on
Yes.
Vamp U.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about working with him, because he's amazing.
Matt is like a musical genius. He's an improv genius. He's so fun. We sit around and we'll just make up songs together. And he's a very talented actor. He's written song like for My Brother the Time Traveler. Jake and I needed there are 2 songs that we needed. We didn't have the money to go for a big name artist, but we knew about Matt that he put together like a great song. So he wrote 2 amazing songs for us and recorded them like the same day. And they work so perfect in the movie. He's kind of a go-to guy for anytime we need something really creative, whether it be a logo for a t-shirt, whether it be a song, whether it be, a partner for, an improv show. He's a part of it. And he's kind of like he's a treasure. He's a treasure to work with. I love the man. So
A Renaissance handyman type of guy. So to close things out, we have bonus questions that we ask each guest. The first one is, what does creativity mean to you?
Creativity. I mean, it means to me, it's the place where you're free to kind of follow your own path. There's no rules with it. It's a very liquid state, if I can describe it like that, where things, they flow. And I mean, I think it's a matter of, I don't think that you can only be creative when the muse touches you. I think that basically you have to open yourself up for the muse. You have to put aside the time, and if you set aside the time to be creative, and you just try to let those waters flow and set aside the time for that they will come. If that makes sense. It's less of a like, oh, you're only touched at certain moments. It's like, no, the moments in which you set aside to give to creativity, that's when it will come to you.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Next one is, who is your favorite Muppet and why?
Oh my gosh. My favorite Muppet is probably, oh gosh, this is a hard one. This is a really hard one. I think it, honestly, as a kid, I think it was Animal, because he was just so crazy and he was so wild, but everybody loved him at the same time. And he was, you know, always playing the drums in the band, and he's just kind of a wild and crazy guy. And you know, I just love that everybody loved him, and he just was always having fun.
Awesome. And then lastly, in the movie of your life, who would you want to play you?
Oh gosh, that's a good one. Well, let's see. People always say I look like Steve Zahn, or
I see it, yeah.
yeah. So Steve Zahn would be good to play me. He's a little older than me, so he'd have to play the older version, or and then the older version, people say I look like Jeff Daniels, a young Jeff Daniels, which I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but he's a great actor.
He is.
So depending on my age, in the movie, one of those guys. I mean, of course, I could always say like Ryan Gosling just to make me feel better about myself, but he's such a great actor. But
there's no wrong answers here, so
yeah,
all three are good.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to check your stuff out and check Showoffs out, where can they view everything?
Yeah, so if you follow me on Instagram at MACLAIN NELSON, MACLAIN NELSON, the link to Showoffs and BYUtv is in my bio. But also, you can just go to BYUtv.org, and you can stream all of the shows there, or you can stream the BYUtv app. You can stream Showoffs. And then I have on my Instagram page like the names of all the shows the movies I've done for the most part. And if you just Google those, you know, the ones will come up. Once There Was a Beehive, Dudes and Dragons, Vamp View, they're all on Amazon Prime. Same with My Brother the Time Traveler, and Saratov Approach as well. And you can also buy, you know, if you're a DVD person, you can just Google those names and they'll come up, you know, on Amazon to buy the DVD. And I think for my Hallmark movies, you have to have the actual channel. But, you know, Google's a great way to just you Google my name and my movies. But I think Instagram's the best way, because I share with people how to see it. So if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, that's probably the best way.
Well, thank you, sir, for coming on. Appreciate it. Is there anything else that you want to share that we didn't cover?
No, I just wanted, well, maybe just that, you know, I appreciate independent creators like yourself and independent viewers and listeners, because you are the people that really help us get our art out there. You know, we can't do more of what we do without people listening and sharing and telling people about these kind of independent projects that we do. You know, we're competing against the multi-million-dollar marketing, you know, machines of the studios, and so there's so much noise out there that, you know, it takes independent creators like you and other people that listen, that share and tell people about these projects that keep us alive. So I just want to say thank you to yourself and, you know, the many like you that help keep us, you know, inspiring and keep us inspired to do more.
Well, great. I'm going to start watching your movies now that I know where to catch them. So I'll start watching them and give you my reviews.
Love it.
All right. Well, I will let you back to your day. Welcome back to America, and
so much.
Happy Showoffs to you next week. And all right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. I'll take care, and so glad to have met you.
Glad to meet you too.
All right. Have a good one.
Good one. Bye.